All right, my watch list for Friday. All right, let's start with GES. Called this as a morning gap play. Didn't get out of it what I should have, but excellent volume. Looking for a continuation, maybe a small gap down in a red to green or something like that. But you definitely want to have this kind of breakout off these lows and closing very strong. You want to have that on watch. And if you go to intraday, this thing went sideways all afternoon. So things consolidate, pulling back through price or through time. All right, so this one. Even though it might look like chasing, taking out, buying the highs of today's break tomorrow. I didn't say that right. The break of today's highs tomorrow. With that consolidation on intraday basis, that might work, but I'll look for a better entry if it gives me one. W, I'm going to have back on watch again. A couple people in chat traded this one today. I never caught a clean entry. It was just trading too thin when I first noticed it, but you got to like this thing over 34, so keep it on watch. It's got a ways to go to get there, but again, you might get a red to green, and this one's got a ton of shorts, like 60% of the float is short or something, and it's a very small float. So W moves really well at times. LL just goes back on watch, never gave me a trade today. There's its early high, and just grinded lower all day. There's nothing tradable in here. To me, it's all just guesswork. But if you noticed yesterday, nice narrow range, and then as it broke its high of the day, if you had this on a chart, you could have grabbed this right there on the high of day break and got a really nice quick day trade. So that's the kind of thing I look for on a stock that's as crazy as LL has been and finally settling in. That one might give a nice trade, but I'll only take it under the proper conditions. NVGN, another gap up. It almost always fades, right? You see every gap up, you get these big red candles topping tail. Then today, kind of a quiet day. Actually stayed inside yesterday's range. So kind of like LL, I want to watch as you see it put in its high of the day. These are 5-minute candles. So put in its high of the day, right around the 30-minute mark, and then nothing, right? But if this can trade in a narrow range for a while, then break its high after the morning, might get a pretty nice move there. KNDI. Okay, there's nothing really pretty here, but it did gap up on earnings on big volume, and now look, it's 1, 2, 3 days right back down to that 13 support. So shorts, in my opinion, got what they wanted out of it, and this is a good area to look for a bounce. So I'm going to watch this one for a potential bounce tomorrow, although I don't really love that one. But Gene, Gene is, even though the daily, you look at that and say, what in the heck is he looking at? This thing moved from $1 to 11, and it's just been grinding lower ever since. All right, but when you go to 15-minute candles, you'll see over the last 5-10 days, something like that, over the last 5 days, you got a really nice pop here. See the volume? Really nice pop here. Again, the volume. And then today, I'll zoom in a little bit now. Today, one of our members, Bert, in chat, and actually some members were already in this. Some people took this they thought it was overdone down here. I didn't call it down there. Then it popped, pulled back, and then really tight flag at 4. I turned on the projector and said, hey, there's Gene, Gene, Bert. Well, Bert posted it. He said, I like this over 4. And I looked at it and I said, you know what, this might have been a short-term bottom, especially with those recent spikes and those nice moves. Tells me shorts are finally getting a little bit nervous. I mean, they're doing really well, right? But finally getting a little bit nervous. And so this nice little tight flag, I called this I said if it gets to 4 or through 4, stop would probably be like 394. And look at this. I mean, in 10 minutes, it went to 420. Now that's, it's a 5% move, if I'm not mistaken. And it ended up tailing off at the end of the day. But with this, and again, big volume. So with this recent action, even though the daily, you'd think, what the heck is he looking at? Hopefully I just explained to you what I'm looking at. So this is worth having on a chart for a potential trade. OREX, Wayne pointed this out in chat today, that this one's starting to look like it might head higher. Zooming in on 15 minute, let's go to 60 minutes. Yeah, this big pop, then the gap down, and it's really been in a range ever since. A few days ago, it popped out of this range that it was in, and now it's just really tight right up here. So the high back here, 774. Today's high, 772. So you got to like this up over today's high. This one might just get going again. So that is OREX. Geo. Now this is really strong lately, and it right now it doesn't look beautiful, but one of our moderators, Gulam, posted this in chat. As strong as it's been, this made sense to me too. He said, hey, it's gapped down a little bit, but it's in a narrow range. I like the high of day break. So Gulam posted this. I believe I might be off by a couple pennies. I think he said 2107, 2099. Look what happened. Boom. I mean, 2150 in a blink. That was a great call. And then it just tailed off the rest of the day. But this kind of move, these things catch my attention. And I say, you know what, I want to have it back on watch again. Knowing that GoGo can do that. SHLD, I kept pointing this one out in chat that this one might go. I feel silly going long Sears, but and I never did take a trade in it, but I did say, you know, over like 40.80, this one might get through the high of the day, and it did. And even here, after it broke 40.80, I said, now this flagging below 41. A 41 break, it might get some more, and it did. It went to 41.40 and closed at its highs, but I never made a trade in it. Anyway, I still think it's worth watching tomorrow because it moves pretty well when it moves, and I think there's a lot of shorts in it. CNDO. You got to have this on watch. 24 million shares. Yes, it gave back a lot of its gains, but you might get a red to green or something. This is definitely worth watching. This was my #1 stock on my gap play list this morning, and I'll show you what give you a little tip on some things I look for when stalking a gap. This is 1 minute candles. I like to try to get in as early as I can if I think something's going to go. This line was the pre-market high. Had tons of volume in pre-market. This was my favorite gapper this morning. So I watched it trade, watched it on a 1 minute basis. And right here, this is exactly what I want to see if I'm going to go long. I want to see sellers come in, and then I don't go long until I feel like those sellers are going to fail. All right, that's where you get the squeeze from. So a lot of people short these lower priced stocks when they gap up, and most times they're right. Some people go in big on these, right? Because some of them fade all day. And as you just saw, CNDO gave a lot back, right? So here's the next minute. All of a sudden it's holding, and when it started to come back up on the very next candle, I was on the microphone. I'm always on the microphone in the first 5 or 10 minutes because I don't have time to type out these gap plays. They happen too quickly. So as it started back up here, I said I like CNDO over 390, right? So here's the next candle. You can see it building. And so the 390 break, already I'm clicking buy, by the way, because I feel like these sellers are failing. It's going to push through the high of the day. So I'm already jumping in here, and then you get the high of day break. You get massive volume. I'm selling through 4, and then the first pullback didn't come close to stopping out, right? Comes back down and then just really rips. So a lot of people did really well on that one in chat. I'll just go ahead and confess my blunder. I was in this and another stock, which I think was... Oh, it was GES. Both were gappers, and I'm literally, I realized, too stupid to be in 2 stocks at once that early when things are going that fast. So I meant I can't talk. I meant to take some off the table on GES because I really wanted to focus on CNDO. And I realized afterwards that I didn't sell GES. I sold CNDO. I sold the rest that I had, and I was keeping, a small portion for a parabolic move like this. So yes, I made decent money on CNDO, but I whined a lot in chat today because I was so mad at myself because it just ripped higher. So anyway, I think I'm going to stick to 1 gap play at a time because having 2 going is kind of chaotic and makes you prone to making, the stupid mistakes like pushing the wrong button or selling the wrong stock. So that's my story for this morning. Anyway, having said all that, I do want to have this. With this kind of volume, even though it gave a lot back, anytime you have that, you want to watch that for the next several days, okay? VVUS, still flagging on the daily. Either I typed that in wrong or my charts I typed it in right. My charts just got dead, okay. Again, this popped through $3 on volume 4 sessions ago, and it's really just flagging. So I just like it over this flag. 307, 308, 311, somewhere around there. This one might make a nice move. Excuse me. Herbalife, HLF, very nice spike here. Look like a little mini short squeeze. Today, just a quiet inside day. So just throw this back on watch. No trades in it today, but I like it a lot over today's high, over 38.75. I think we probably push right through 39.28 and maybe continue this squeeze. You can see the volume there on these up days. So HLF, I'll go ahead and write in my notes right now. 38.76. I like to have a price if the daily chart gives me one. 38.76 is definitely interesting. Do I call out? Sorry, guys, I'm answering. When people watch this video, they won't see the little chat room on the side on Ticker TV. At least I don't think it records that part. But somebody just asked me if I call out share size when I enter trade. Absolutely not, because everyone should be trading whatever's comfortable for them, and nobody should give a rat's butt how many shares I'm trading. Does that make sense? I want everybody to trade. What I teach people is, if you know where the trigger is, right, and you know where the stop is, and those are called out ahead of time, then you take the share size that if you get stopped out, it's within your personal pain threshold for any individual trade, which everyone should have one. So hopefully that made sense to you, right? So just real quick, going back to CNDO, and I'll show you how I called it in chat again, 1 minute candles. 391 was the trigger. You know the stop is going to be below this pullback low, 374, okay? So you just quickly do the math. That's what, 17 cents? So if you take 1,000 shares, you could lose $170. I'm leaving commissions out just for the sake of argument, for the sake of simplicity, because I don't want to overload my brain. 1,000 shares will cost you 170 if you're wrong, okay? So if that is too much for you, then you cut your position size down. If you're comfortable risking $500 on a trade, right, then you can take a couple thousand shares, maybe 2,500, something like that. So you just do a quick math problem. And if you've traded any length of time, you don't need a calculator. You can do it in your head, right? This one was so clean that I almost wasn't worried about the stop. I was just clicking buy right here. And I had pretty good size. And like I said, if I knew how to hit the right button, this would have been a huge day for me. It ended up just being an okay day, all because of my own blunder. But so position size shouldn't matter what anyone else is trading. You should do it based on your own personal threshold of pain. And not only should you have a personal stop loss limit, amount on any given trade, but you should also have a daily loss limit amount. All right, and when you hit that, you just stop for the day. Hopefully that won't happen too long. I've got 6 weeks now. I've still got one losing day, in a little bit over 6 weeks, I think. So I'm pretty careful and I'm pretty defensive. All right, but having said that, I also haven't had any huge days in the past couple weeks. I'm sort of just chugging it out. I'm slugging it out, singles and doubles. So anyway. And Herbalife was the last one. I do have a lower volume one that might interest some of you that I just discovered today. HOTR. I think this is the parent company for Hooters, but don't quote me on that. So you had this spike back here, and you can say even these big spikes weren't a million shares a day. So although yesterday was. So this is really interesting over, really over today's high, over 279. Should get you through these highs of 286, and then this one might get going. I haven't checked the float on it, but I might be able to do that real quick. I'll do that, and then I'm going to end this video, because this is just supposed to be a watch list video, not me babbling. It looks like 6 million in the float, so that's a tiny float. It doesn't look like a lot of shorts. So that's interesting. It's a little thinner than I'd like to call, but HOTR, you might want to add that to your watch list if you like these lower volume ones. They do have excellent service in their restaurant. I'm sorry, I was going to segue into a joke, and I'll leave that alone. All right, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's have a good day tomorrow.